Today, we are looking at a specific excerpt from the March 2nd daily devotional, Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris.
Glad to be here for this one. It is quite a piece of writing.
It really is. So jumping in, the central theme of the provided text is titled The Outworking of the Word in You.
And the primary goal there is redefining what it considers to be true Christian practice.
Yeah.
It completely moves away from the idea of abstract, passive belief.
So if it's not just about agreeing with a set of theological principles in your head, what does this practice actually look like?
According to the text, it's about literal embodiment. It argues that when a person talks or acts, it is practically the word itself in action.
The word in action.
Yeah. The text builds a blueprint for this by pointing to scriptural ideas of the divine actually dwelling within a person. The concept of the Word being made flesh and dwelling among people.
Treating Jesus as the original unveiling of that concept.
Precisely. And then it connects that original template directly to the modern reader. It argues that believers aren't simply followers reading about history. They are a direct continuation of that embodiment.
Because they are born again of, well, the text says incorruptible seed.
Right, which translated out of the heavy biblical terminology means being born of an imperishable idea or a kind of spiritual DNA rather than biology.
That brings up probably the most striking imagery in the entire excerpt.
Oh, the walking document concept.
Yes, the text describes a human being as a living letter, an epistle of Christ.
It does.
But how does the author suggest someone actually pulls off being a living letter in daily life?
Well, it draws a sharp contrast to explain the mechanics of it. It notes that this letter isn't written with ink, and it isn't carved into old stone tablets.
It's written internally, right?
Exactly. Written with the Spirit into the fleshy tables of the heart.
That describes a deeply internal transformation, but one that is entirely meant to be read externally by everyone they interact with.
It really reminds me of the psychology behind wearing a highly recognizable uniform all day, or functioning as a walking billboard, but on a totally spiritual level.
That is a great way to ground the concept. Because of this internal writing, the text states believers are meant to act as the effulgence of his glory.
And just to clarify that archaic vocabulary, effulgence simply means a brilliant radiance, a shining forth.
So they're supposed to actively project those internal qualities outward into their environment.
Absolutely everywhere they go. The source relies heavily on the premise that as the divine is, so are you in this world.
So the believer's role is to physically manifest the flavor or the savor of divine knowledge, wisdom, grace, and power.
It's a constant physical representation.
Which brings us to our core takeaway today. Ultimately, this devotional is calling for a very deliberate shift in consciousness. It's asking the reader to view themselves as that divine presence alive in their world today.
With the primary directive of manifesting love and compassion.
Right. And for you listening, understanding these frameworks is fascinating if you are curious about how belief systems deeply shape human identity, action, and purpose.
It is a total shift in how a person views their daily life.
It really is. And it leaves you with something profound to mull over.
Yeah.
If you were to deeply internalize the idea that your very life is a living letter constantly being read by the world around you, how might that intense sense of representation completely alter your psychological approach to even the most mundane, everyday interactions?
That's your call to action. You can find more information on this source material, The Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris, on their website, www.rhapsodyofrealities.org.
We'll catch you next time.
We trust you were blessed by this episode. To gain unlimited access to Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris, please download the Rhapsody app using the link myapp.rhapsodyofrealities.org. God bless you.